Hey guys, Who here? Today I've got something I haven't done in a while, and that's a gameplay commentary. This is a longer video, but I'm going to step through some of my decision making. The map is Hainan Resort, which is one of my favorites to fly in, but with a mobile AA, 2 jets, a boat, and lots of open area, it can definitely be a challenge to fly in. I don't have anyone in my helicopter at the start, so there's not really any reason to push straight for the middle flag. I joined the server by myself, and although some people get in the helicopter later, they weren't exactly dedicated repair guys. One of them just rode around in the useless passenger seat waiting for me to die in the previous round. I'm running miniguns and guided missile this round. I do have flares, which I normally run ECM, but I think I was testing something out. Flares aren't a bad choice, they're definitely more reliable, but ECM gives you a lot longer time to loiter and then finally get out of the area. The side route is definitely a good route to take. You saw me take out that jet at the very start, and here I am about to wipe out their other air assets. This really allows you to sneak up when you don't have someone to drop on that center flag. Don't let habit dictate your actions. Just try and think about what the best possible option is. Whenever you start to get locked, try and use objects like that boat for cover. I know I've already burned my flare, so I really got to get around this corner and use this tall building for cover. While I wait for my flares to recharge, I check my mini-map and try and find my next target. If you're just pubbing and looking for kills, jeeps and boats, things you can kill really quickly, are my favorite things to shoot at. Make sure when you see a boat or something that can shoot back at you, make sure you shoot the gunner, not just the boat itself. I'm being a little bit aggressive here, exposing myself without flares reloaded, but I'm pretty close to the building and I'm pretty far back close to my spawn. I have full health, so if I did take a shot, I could probably escape and get to one of these buildings for cover before taking a follow-up shot. Again, my flares aren't reloaded, so I try to keep my distance, shoot some guided missiles. Once they've reloaded, then I'm free to go pretty much wherever I want. As long as I feel I can get back to cover after I pop my flares, the whole map is open to me. When a target is laser designated, you don't actually have to hold your lock. The missiles simply become fire and forget, even after the lock is lost. And in case you're wondering, it's just a bug. I didn't actually shoot 2 missiles instantaneously. When it comes to big open maps like Paracel Storm and Hainan Resort, miniguns are still king. Occasionally I'll run 25mm, but in competitive I pretty much have to run exclusively miniguns. And since I have such little time, I try to practice like I play. This heavy enemy presence message means that there's a cruise missile coming. My flares weren't reloaded, so I took a gamble here crossing this open area. I do take a hit, but I'm right next to this cover, so I don't have to worry too much about it. Throughout this entire footage, this is the one spot that the repair guy may have saved me from dying. Generally though, I try not to rely on them because you never know. These little buildings here are great for cover. I use them whenever I'm attacking Alpha, or I just need to peek up and see if there are any heat seekers coming my way. You see me switch weapons here after I fire to break the lock. When I reacquire the lock, not only does the missile fly much faster, but it also helps give time for the APS to go away. It wasn't successful here, but I use this regularly against boats, and the occasional ATV. This boat is running smoke, but the miniguns actually go right through APS. I'm being pretty aggressive here, and this isn't exactly the safest spot to be. But if you take a look at the map, you can see we have, well, them pretty much all capped. This means it's less likely for there to be a guy with a stinger anywhere close to me. I take a hit here, and I'm in a pretty bad spot. The enemy helicopter is right above me. I can see his shadow below. The thing to remember about the enemy scout helicopter is that he's got to point his nose down in order to get at you. So if you fly directly underneath him, he's not going to be able to shoot you like an attack helicopter could. I'm hurt and I don't have any flares, but hanging out here is going to be a lot safer than trying to cross the open area back to the hotel. A quick check on my minimap and I see that there's a boat attacking Alpha. I always try to stop these flanks because anytime an enemy gets behind you, that's when you're going to start running out of places to hide. At some point, you've just got to realize when you're outmatched. Yeah, I want to get this boat kill, but I've got 2 stingers coming at me, I've just burned my flares, I've got to get back to cover. It only takes about 20 seconds to retreat versus an entire minute to die and wait for your helicopter to respawn. You'll see me use that guided missile trick I talked about earlier here. It's about the only way to kill a jet ski or fast-moving ATV. Once you get locked, you've got about a second to decide whether you're going to try and kill the guy that locked you or whether you're going to try and fly away. While I'm retreating, I check my mini-map for enemies at Bravo. I see that there's a guy underneath his hangar somewhere, so I'm going to fly over there and see if I can find him. If I'm flying with people on TeamSpeak, I usually select the support class so I can give them more ammo. In this case, I don't know these people. I'm going to fly next to this and see if I can throw them a bone by giving them some more bullets. I'm engaging this boat here, and again, you've got to aim for the back of it to try and kill those guys with the miniguns. Those miniguns will shred a helicopter in seconds. One nice thing about flares is that you can wait and reliably use them until after the missile has fired. That is, if it's far away. In this case, I actually see the guy with the stinger pointing at me, so I go ahead and dump my flares early to make sure that the missile doesn't accidentally go right through it. In this case, I take a gamble that I can get around this cover before the missile actually hits. I gambled correctly, but you definitely have to be careful when doing something like that. In this shot, I was concerned that my missile would accidentally lock onto whatever was next to it, so I went ahead and held my lock. So unlike the last time I was here, it's not a safe place to hang out. I just took a stinger from really close. I've got to retreat. That's the only option I've got. At this point, I can't make it to cover, so I tilt my helicopter so that it's at a perpendicular angle to the incoming missile. The missile actually flies right through the door in the cockpit and circles around and explodes harmlessly. It doesn't work every time, but it's a pretty good option to save your butt. I identified that this boat is running burst fire. Burst fire will shred a helicopter, so I try to dance around while I shoot missiles. I'm contemplating retreating, though. But in this case, I realize that the people riding my helicopter are actually repairing, so I can stand to be a little bit more aggressive. Well, that wraps it up for this video. I hope you learned something. I know it was a longer video, and if you stuck with it through the end, thank you for watching. I appreciate it. Let me know what you think about this video, and if you've got any questions, definitely let me know.
Ba bam bam ba dam bam.